And we are back to HetaOni, Chapter 1. Last time we left off, they just entered the house. But between me ranting and the magical endings that are called blue butterfly endings and wrong choices, we are still stuck. So let's get back into it. The X-axis looked around the hallway of the house. They didn't notice the blue butterfly in the wall. Germany shifts uncontrollably, but otherwise says nothing. He briefly looks at his brother, who is simply looking around the hallway with a little surprise. Italy is passive. Japan simply looks like he's ready to kill someone. It's clear he doesn't really want to be here. Italy places his hands on his hip. He starts. It's cleaner than I thought. He glances to Japan and smiles. Certainly not rotting. Is it, Japan? Japan says nothing, choosing instead to fold his arms. Germany look at the floor. Look. Can we go now? Prussia looks at him in surprise. What's the matter, West? Don't tell me you're scared. Smash. What was that? Germany cries, grabbing his brother's arms. Prussia places a hand on his younger brother's shoulder to calm him down, but says nothing. They all stare down the hallway, saying nothing. Germany swallows. I think we should go now. Japan looks at him unimpressed. Domini, stop being silly, he orders. It's just an old house. There's nothing to be scared of. Well, apart from us. Where are you going? No. And where are you going? Italy asks when Japan starts to leave the group. He stops walking and looks back to them to see what that noise was. Prussia glances at Germany, then back to Japan. Careful, Japan. The ghost might eat you. Germany suppresses a whimper and looks at his brother, a little annoyed by the mocking comment. Shut up! Shut up, Prussia. I'll be back in a minute. He continues walking, leaving the group. Alright, I'm gonna read up to the blue butterfly. Japan enters the kitchen. The first thing he notices is a broken plate. He walks up to it before it looks it over before getting down on one knee. He picks up some of the shards and them. After all, they could be useful. Extra weaponry and tools hadn't killed anyone. Well, other than the people who didn't carry the extra arsenal. Seeing nothing else, he decides to leave the kitchen and go back to the others. He looks around the kitchen much, but doesn't see the blue butterfly. Japan notices the blue butterfly on the wall. What? He starts and touches it. It activates, flying out and melding itself into his katana. He stares blankly at it before shrugging off. If you hear panting, that's my dog. He wants to be in the video. Perhaps I'll make a video collage of him so you can just see him. He's turning 2 soon. Yes, he is, and I'll make a birthday video for him. That will be his gift to everyone. Unknown to him, the katana has been strengthened to the point that one blow will severely injure a thing. You only have one shot, though. Sometime later, the Allies arrive. They split off. England, China, and France go to the second floor. Upon getting there, England says he doesn't want to hang around anymore, so China and England go to the third and fourth floor, leaving the second to France. When they go to meet up with France, he is nowhere to be found, so China tells England to stay put. While he looks for France in the other rooms, they don't find him and go to the kitchen, where they find Russia and Canada fighting the Thing. They attempt to help, but they exhaust him. Defeated, the Thing moves in for the kill. Interestingly enough, it goes after England first. England, unaware of the danger, looks up the thing. He smiles. Oh, hello there. Do you want to be friends? The thing raises an arm to kill him, but before it can, Japan jumps down from the ceiling and hits the thing. It jumps up, alerted, while England just watches in confusion. The thing throws Japan off its back and thrashes at him. He dodges and attacks, but each attack is countered by the thing. Hey, help me! Hey, help me! Japan orders the others, realizing that he's no longer fending for England but for himself. I can't! We already tried! It just... China snaps, getting back to his feet. England gets back to his feet and the others are up, but they aren't doing anything to help Japan. England doesn't do anything either. So Japan switches tactics. Run! He yells and runs out of the room. The thing, having not moved fast enough to catch Japan, looks at the others. They hurry after Japan. The thing reaches out for them, but only manages to catch Russia's scarf, who ditches it quickly. The thing tears the scarf apart and chases after them. They go to the hall. The thing is still after them. They have more running and see Italy and Germany running towards them, likewise chased by a thing. They look at each other, alarmed. Italy's bewildered and looks between the two things. Don't just stand there, run! He yells and they do. But Italy knows, he knows that they won't all get out of this alive. It's always hard to kill those things at the beginning. He runs to them, realizing that the only way left is downstairs, but the thing circles them. So does the one behind him. It's 2 against him. Almost fair. Italy, watch out! Someone calls out. He doesn't know who, but is distracted for him by a second. More than enough time for both of the things to lurch at him and end everything. The bad ending. Japan, don't touch stuff. So, if you didn't realize, that is the butterfly that is supposed to give Japan the power to do one blow, which I feel is much cooler in thought. Like, because in the original HetaOni, Japan had the one time you get that super cool move that ends the thing in like one shot. But you don't get that for the rest of the game. This totally makes sense of why you only get that one shot to kill him. There's the magic of the butterflies. But if we go back to my theory that the butterflies are just dead people, dead countries that have been reincarnated as butterflies to give whatever remaining strength they had to the current timeline, you have to think that's a pretty cool theory. And it just layers upon layers of the timelines getting intermingled, which HetaOni did try to do, that you go back to the previous loop, but I'm gonna be honest, it felt out of place, and Cookies did feel more attached. Like, oh, it's not just Germany, Italy, and America who do it. It's also Romano and Spain. But you don't see France, China, and I think it's Russia. Those 3 who go. I don't think you see them, so it's kind of like, eh. But yeah, America, Italy, and Germany's thing was just to clear up that Italy's not the only one who has time traveled. And that's why that there's a disparity between the memories. If Italy dies, England will have the memories, and if England dies, Italy will have that memory. So it's kind of like, wow. Alright, enough ranting. Seeing nothing else, he decides to leave the kitchen and go back to the others. He doesn't look around the kitchen much, so he doesn't see another blue butterfly on the wall. Japan feels the shards in the pocket. It's not clear how the plate smashed, but he thinks it must have been by the wind. Nothing weird about a broken plate. Japan widens once he reaches where his ally should have been. He finds it abandoned, with no one else around. Did they leave after all? He wonders. He frowns. How regrettable. Well, might as well leave too. He decides and opens the front door. Or rather, attempts to open the front door. Nothing happens. Surprisingly, he rattles the knob several times, but to no avail. It seems to be locked. Did they lock me in? He knows that they couldn't have. With what key? Before his thoughts can drift any more, he stops caring. He looks the door over. Well, it was a nice door, but I dusted. He kicks the door down, or rather, again, tries to. Nothing happens, other than a pain shooting through his legs. He flinches and leans against the wall to let his other leg recover. He hisses. As he tries to think through the pain, he briefly wonders how kicking it down didn't work. He had kicked down plenty of doors before. Why hadn't it worked this time? He shrugs it off and stands back to his 2 feet. He takes out his swords. Well, this certainly shouldn't work. But nothing as he slashes the door. The wood isn't damaged at all. Can't even make a scratch on its surface. What is this? A magic door? He accidentally exclaims before hitting it in frustration. He stands there for a few seconds before attempting it again. As expected, nothing has changed. The door remains locked. He sighs. He'll just have to find another way out. Now, I do remember this scene, this ending right here, because I felt deep in my heart this was the best explanation of what happened in that moment where Japan, either one of them sees the creature, whether it be the 2P HetaOni one or in the game we played, or like Cookies where you see the gray thing. Text-based adventures are a little different from normal games. Text-based adventures allow you to see with your own mind, allow you to imagine the world around you by giving you just vague details. For example, I played 2P HetaOni. I played HetaOni. I know what the mansion looks like. If you've watched HetaOni on this channel before, you've seen Cookie's interpretation of the mansion. You've seen the 2P version of the mansion. So you know that this mansion definitely exists. You know what it looks like, what's the limitations. However, because it's not like Dark Souls or anything that cool, we're having a hard time imagining what's actually happening. And this provides an amazing explanation to what's going on in that scene. But let's continue. Japan wanders around the first floor, but he discovers he can't enter any of the rooms, with the exception of the kitchen. Everything's locked. He breathes deeply, trying not to get frustrated. He decides all the rooms being locked is curious, not frustrating. He wanders around a bit before entering the left wing of the house. He walks around the corner and freezes, his body going limp, suddenly paralyzed with fear. He doesn't understand why he would react like this. Nothing scares him. But he does. He simply freezes in place. Ahead of him, he sees a giant. It looks like a gray giant. He can't see much from far away. It seems to be standing with his back towards him. And its overly large head. It's in an unnerving, muscular body. He opens his mouth. What is this? Japan yells. His body is still paralyzed, but he realizes it's too late. By screaming, he got the thing's attention. It turns around, slowly. Its large, black eyes and its face somehow sharp, pointy, and heavily wrinkled. Its mouth opens to reveal sharp fangs and a row of sharp teeth hidden behind them. Japan can't do anything but stare. He screams at his body to move, but nothing happens. He watches the thing approach. It crawls towards him, slowly. Despite open mouth, it smiles. It makes a terrible screeching noise. High-pitched and it, despite its pitch, sounded like laughter. It limps over to Japan. He still can't move. He stares. The thing lifts him up by one of his arms and starts swinging it. Claws out to kill. At the last second, the thing places its hand on his shoulder and leans in. Mouth opened, wide enough to bite his head off. It rests its forehead on his. It's placed its other hand on his shoulder and slowly licks his face. The act somehow makes Japan on freeze in one swift motion. He grabs his katana and takes it out, but he doesn't get any further. The thing reacted to his sudden movement and bit down. Japan let an agonizing scream and fell to his knees. His whole arm had just been... He looks up, the thing swallow his whole arm. He feels weak and sick, but fear kicks in again and keeps him paralyzed. The pain is unbearable. He tries to look up, but he's frozen in place. He sees the thing's feet. He feels himself being picked up by the neck. He stares at the thing as its mouth opens. Its jaw unhinges its jaw. Japan's eyes widen. It's gonna attempt to swallow him whole. It drops him to the side of the mouth. He can't scream. His entire body shut down. There isn't enough room for him. So as he falls into the pitch black, he feels more and more rows of teeth digging into him until it starts to bite down. Then the bad ending. See, this is amazingly well written. It's done. It's cool. You have a great image of what's going on. This is what I love about text adventure games. I actually like the more clicking because I'm kind of dumb and I can't remember commands for the life of me, so this is awesome. So, let's stay calm. Japan quietly closes his mouth again. The thing enters the bathroom. He can move again. His breathing is irregular. Why is he reacting like this? There's no reason to be afraid. He's Japan. He does not get afraid. He rests his back against the wall and sinks to his knees, trying to calm down. He doesn't understand why, but something deep inside him had felt unparalleled fear when he saw that thing. He hopes he can get over the fear. If that thing attacked again, he would be powerless to defend. He hadn't been able to move his body. It had been terrifying. He looked up at the ceiling. What is this place? He sighs. They should have listened to Germany and just left when they had the chance. They were such... He gets to his feet and walks up to the door. The thing had disappeared. Fine. Despite fear, he wants to know if it's still there. He reaches for the door, a little nervous, and discovers it's locked. A small sigh of relief and a little frustration, he decides not to think too much of the incident. Japan leaves. Since there isn't anything else to do on the first floor, he goes upstairs. He's already tried a few windows, but they don't budge either. He's starting to wonder if he was trapped. The notion was ridiculous, but... well, with everyone mysteriously gone. Japan shakes his head. He's sure there's a more reasonable explanation for everything. Whoop woo! Now, we're gonna read this blue butterfly ending real quick. And then I'm going to call it an episode, and next episode, I believe we can finish this off. So, but he hesitates, looks over the butterfly over. He touches it and suddenly activates. He suddenly feels a lot more powerful. What the fuck? He doesn't know what to do. He shrugs and continues. Sometimes later, the Allies arrive. They split, and England, China, and France go to the second floor. Upon Getting there, England says he doesn't want to hang around, so China and England go to the third and fourth floor, leaving the second to France. When they meet up with France, he's nowhere to be found. So China tells England to stay put while he looks for France on the other floor. He enters his dining room and sees a message. Find the missing pages? China murmurs, confused. With all the weird graffiti everywhere, he was starting to get uncomfortable. And perhaps a small part of him wanted to solve the mystery, to know what happened. He sighs and rejoins England. Sorry, England, I could not find. China falls silent, his eyes widen. England? England, are you okay? He asks, running over to the Brit. The Brit is lying slumped against the wall. Hey, England, stop joking around. We need to... China says, approaching him. I know you're messing with me. Nations can't die, so come on. China touches him. England, stop. He stares in horror, noticing England's cravat and collar is colored red. He slowly lifts up England's head to see that there's a giant wound on his neck. Like something had bitten. England, I know you're not really hurt. I know you're really hurt, but we don't die. Like, you're not... Stop playing dead! China tries to shake England awake, but nothing happens. England is still limp. Iggy? Iggy, hey, wake up! I know you're messing around, I mean... China's confused. He tries to move away from England, but instead, his knees feeling very, very weak. His heart beating is too fast. He's finding it difficult to think. This had to be his imagination. What was this? England? He starts, but suddenly stops. Why is it suddenly dark? He looks up, and China pales. He starts, but only to notice the blood on its teeth. Before, dying. And that is why we don't touch butterflies. Japan! I am sure almost 50% of the things in HetaOni could have been solved with Italy finding a confidant every time a new loop happened. Just pulled someone competent in every timeline thought and gave them a quick rundown of things not to touch. Like in this scenario. Just pull Japan aside because he knows Japan's going to be moving around like crazy. Gonna pull him aside and be like, bro, do not touch the blue butterflies. For the love of God. If you see the butterfly, don't touch it. Here's why. You wanna fuck someone up. See how easy that is? Japan wouldn't understand until much later, but at least he told Japan. So, anyways, I'm gonna end it here, so I'm trying to space it out into decent sized episodes. Why? Because this way, that way, if I have homework, I don't have to worry about my recording schedule. So I'll see you guys later. Bye!